No, don't go out. There's something in the mist. Here are 19 reasons to watch The Mist. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dave Musson, at Dave Musson on Instagram. This is the place where I talk to you about all things Stephen King. Do check out the links in the description for my range of Stephen King themed banner shirts, my own collection of short stories, a bunch of other stuff as well. But most of all, thank you for checking out this video. I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, click subscribe so you don't miss any ones in the future. So today we're back on the trail of going through the movies and adaptations of Stephen King's work. We're back in 2007, we're back with Dimension Films, and we are covering The Mist. So The Mist is a Frank Darabont directed adaptation of the Stephen King novella of the same name that was first published in 1980 and eventually collected in Skeleton Crew. And this one contains a whole bunch of people, including a load of faces who have been in King works before. I'm talking Thomas Jane, Andre Braugher, William Sadler, Francis Sternhagen, Jeffrey DeMunn, and a bunch of them. And this film culminates in one of the most spectacular endings in cinematic history. But we'll get to that at the spoiler alert. Talking spoilers, if you are worried about spoilers in this, don't be. Anything that might ruin a first-time watch for you will be clustered behind the spoiler alert, so you can bail at that point and just skip ahead to the outro. Or, of course, you can watch all the way through if you want to. Now, if you want to watch this one, you can rent it on Amazon and on Apple and probably some other places as well. And it's absolutely worth doing so. Trust me, this is one of the good ones. Okay, let's just get into it. Here are 19 reasons to watch The Mist. So my headline reason for watching this one is quite simply that this is one of the top 5 Stephen King adaptations ever. Sincerely. This is the best Frank Darabont adaptation, and bear in mind his other two are The Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile. And it's just the best encapsulation of a Stephen King movie that does monsters and humans trying to survive in a quite extraordinary situation. Just does it brilliantly. This is Lord of the Flies crossed with a 1950s B movie, and it is wonderful. This one was something of a passion project for Darabont. He wanted to adapt this right from when he first read it, when it was first published in 1980 in some magazine. And you can feel that pouring out of him in this movie, including Darabont's special ending that he cooked up and that King approved of. Just everything about it screams love, but not in a way that hinders the final product. So what's the hook here? Well, after one hell of a storm, the residents of Bridgeton, Maine are all in the local supermarket stocking up on supplies when a weird mist crawls over the town. And pretty quickly they realize there are things in that mist, bad things that humans haven't seen or comprehend before, and things that kill humans. And so we get these residents who are trapped in the supermarket trying to survive what's in the mist, but also trying to survive each other. Now, it's worth pointing out that this is a film that you should really try and track down the DVD for, because the DVD contains the black and white cut, which was how Darabont wanted the film to be presented. And it went into cinemas in colour, but there is this black and white version, and honestly, the black and white version is chef's kiss. It really helps with the effects as well, because Darabont wasn't exactly blessed with a huge budget for CGI, and putting all that in black and white just makes it work, as well as feeling like even more of an homage to those 50s B movies that really inspired this story. So basically, black and white is what the director wanted, so that's how you should watch it too. Having watched the black and white version myself, I've never gone back to the colour. And hey, as a tribute to that, I'm going to make the rest of this video black and white as well. Okay? So there's a real energy to this film that just keeps you hooked. It was shot in less than a month and you can feel that speed. And also, Darabont deliberately picked the crew from the TV show The Shield that he had worked on a couple of episodes for, because he liked their documentary, fast-cutting shooting style. So in any of the big scenes with lots of people involved, they'd have multiple cameras on the go, and nobody would know who the main focus was at that point. So everyone was giving great performances all the time. And then Darabont would meticulously go through and pick out the best shots and piece it all together. It kind of gives you this thing that is always moving. And in many ways, it feels a bit like a stage show at times. It's so intimate, so captivating, so high-paced. The 2 hours just zip by. Okay, time to talk cast, given how big it is. Let's start with David Drayton, our lead character, played by Thomas Jane. He is a classic king everyman hero, and Thomas Jane nails it here. He's practical, he's likeable, you want him to succeed. And Nathan Gamble as his son Billy is perfectly cast. That little kid is great. I loved seeing Toby Jones as Ollie Weeks. Sure, it took me a while to get used to him having an American accent, but he totally nails the tone of that character, and he's got a great face for a Stephen King ensemble piece. It just works. So Andre Braugher as Bryn Norton and Laurie Holden as Amanda Dunphy, they do brilliant jobs, and the way their characters interact with David Drayton, both of them work spot on. Bryn is this stubborn asshole, whereas Amanda becomes this kind of co-lead, co-hero. It just works. They're both completely nailed. But there's a swathe of actors here who have been in King's stuff before, and they all add so much value to this. So we get William Sadler, Jeffrey DeMunn, and Francis Sternhagen, and they all lead into their character acting chops and just deliver the goods.
I'm not convinced that you heard anything.
But it has to be Marcia Gay Harden as Mrs. Carmody who takes the overall prize here. Just like in the story, she becomes more vital and more powerful the longer the situation goes on. And she's a great king human villain. She's unhinged, she's crazy, she's dangerous, and at times she sounds dangerously reasonable as well. Lastly, before spoilers, you won't find a better Stephen King monster movie. You'll struggle to find a Stephen King movie that examines humans in crisis more effectively. And ultimately, this is everything you could want from a Stephen King film. Okay, from this point, I'm going to be talking about similarities and differences from the story, and then picking out some of my favourite moments. So that might ruin a first-time watch for you. So if you're worried about that, consider this your spoiler alert. Find the timestamp to the outro, skip ahead to the end, and I'll see you there. Otherwise, stick right where you are, because I've got more reasons for you to watch The Mist coming right up.
There's nothing out there.
So when this comes to following the story, it's a Frank Darabont piece, so it is pretty faithful, but there are a few changes. He does away with the storyline of David and Amanda sleeping with each other, which I think is a smart choice, and he makes more of the army involvement, the Arrowhead Project, to the point where we get this writhing mass of people who stab one of the army guys and then offer him as a sacrifice to the beast in the mist, which is totally harrowing and totally effective as well.
The beast will leave us alone tonight.
And then, of course, it's the ending, but we'll get to that. So I'm going to jump right into some of my favourite moments because there are loads of them that I want to get through. And I love how the tone is set right from the very start, just a very simple but haunting and effective use of a siren going past the supermarket. It's classic monster movie stuff and it works. So the scene where Norm, the bag boy, played by the Shermanator from American Pie, of course, where he gets grabbed by the tentacles out in the mist, that is just so good. So good, and so early on in the film. Brilliant. Likewise, where the guy goes out to the mist wearing a washing line around his waist, and only half of him comes back. Yep. Oh, and we also have to talk about the horrific expedition to the pharmacy. But my favourite moment, apart from the ending, is Mrs. Carmody getting shot. Boom. Good work, Ollie. As for my favourite lines, it's Jeffrey DeMunn's arrival where he's running and screaming that there's something in the mist. Yes, yes. Something in the mist! Okay, it's time to look at connections to other Stephen King works and Easter eggs. So settle down, because there are a few. As I've already mentioned, Frank Darabont also did The Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile. Greg Nicotero was involved in the effects here, and he worked on Misery, on Creepshow 2, and on The Night Flyer, and on Desperation. Bernie Wrightson was involved in this, and he illustrated a bunch of King stuff, including some Dark Tower bits and Cycle of the Werewolf. Thomas Jane was also in Dreamcatcher in 1922. Jeffrey DeMunn was also in Shawshank, Green Mile, Storm of the Century. William Sadler was also in Shawshank and the Green Mile, and is going to be in the 2024 version of Salem's Lot, assuming we ever get it. Andre Braugher was in the 2004 miniseries of Salem's Lot. Francis Sternhagen was in Misery and also did the audiobook for Dolores Claiborne. And I think that's everything. So moving on to Easter eggs. So we see a stack of Stephen King books get knocked over in one of the fight scenes. The pharmacy is called King's Pharmacy. When they're in the pharmacy, Ollie makes sure to take a bunch of OxyContin, which is the painkiller drug that King got hooked onto post-accident and writes about a lot in his 2000s work. And we get Mrs. Carmody saying, "My life for you" at one point, which of course is a line taken from The Stand.
My life for you.
And right at the start of the film, a couple of fun ones. At the very start, we see David Drayton painting a poster that is clearly the Dark Tower. And there's a little line where he's talking to Brent at the start and he says, "Sincerely."
Sincerely.
Which I feel like has to be a nod to Stand By Me, right? Okay then, the ending. Oh my God. If you've come this far in this video and you've still not watched The Mist and you don't know about the ending, honestly, stop this video right now and go and watch the movie and then come back. Seriously. Okay? You happy to go on? Right. That ending. So the option was obviously there to follow the book and leave it with a pretty bleak but ambiguous and maybe mildly hopeful ending of not knowing where they were going to go, but maybe having a destination in mind. Your friend Darabont, he leans into one line in the book where we see David Drayton talking about how he's got enough bullets to kill everyone else but himself, and he'll figure out a situation for how he might do himself in if the situation warranted it. He leans into that. So, for this end, it's so brutal an ending. But for the humans all to realise that there is no hope, so he just goes through the car, pops off his own son and the other three. Leaving him with no bullets for himself. So then he steps out into the mist, ready to be taken by the creatures of the mist, only, of course, for the mist to dissipate, the army to appear, and for him to realise he was literally moments away from safety, and all of his friends and his son, he killed them for nothing. And we just leave with David Drayton, completely a broken man. I mean, the guts to do that as an ending. Honestly, I'm not exaggerating when I said earlier it's one of the best endings in cinematic history. I think it is wonderful. It is so harrowing, so bleak, such a gut punch, and I will love it forever. Okay, there we go. 19 reasons for you to watch The Mist. Let me know what you think of this one in the comments. Personally, it's one of my absolute favourite Stephen King movies. And just everything about it, I love. Especially watching it in black and white. Do check out links in the description for my range of Stephen King themed band shirts, for my short story collection, a bunch of other stuff. Most of all, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you enjoyed and you haven't done so already. And tell a friend who also might like to check this out. And do come again soon. We've got one more adaptation left in the norms. Unfortunately, it's not a very good one.